Okay, so Module 1 discusses the foundations of effective teaching and learning. A big point in this is effective teaching practices. And a way to have an effective teaching practices is to embody 4 basic characteristics of having good rapport with students, being prepared for lessons, technical competence in establishing rules and consequences, and sufficient knowledge in learning strategies. And this information comes from the Smoothly Functioning Classroom article. And then Module 1 connects to Module 6 because it discusses an effective teaching practice of developing positive relationships with students and their families. And this is a form of invitational teaching that was mentioned in Module 6. So right here you can kind of see where I drew this really long line that says building positive relationships with students and parents is a form of invitational teaching. So let's scroll back up and let's get to Module 2 over here. And there we go. Module 2 class is about classroom management. Some key principles of having classroom management is maintaining professionalism, using high quality instruction, focusing on the positive, being consistent, planning early, understanding student diversity. And another thing about classroom management is you want to have a structured classroom. So to have a structured classroom, you need to establish routines. And this is also mentioned in Module 1 of creating and following daily schedules. Having that routine helps you to be more effective. And then scrolling down to Module 3. Module 3 is about culturally responsive teaching. An important component of culturally responsive teaching is having culturally responsive instruction. This just can mean like including the student's background and experiences as a tool to aid in instruction. This helps to include a variety of learners and include their history and make them feel more connected to the information. And this module connects to Module 2 because, as I mentioned, understanding student diversity is a component of classroom management. So if I understand that, I can be more culturally responsive and have a more culturally relevant pedagogy. Moving on to Module 4. Module 4 is about lesson plans designs for student mastery. An important component of that is having the unit plan design. And this is just kind of like an in-between step between your long plans and lesson plans. Each plan should contain goals, objectives, learning activities, and the instructional methods used. And this connects to Module 3 because in the curriculum planning guidelines component, it mentions tapping into the background knowledge and their past experiences. And that just is relevant to that information I mentioned about how they can help them to make more connections with their learning and can connect the culture a little bit more. Moving on to Module 5. Module 5 is about data analysis and formative assessments. Collecting data is really important, and it's important to have instruction that is data driven. And Module 5 connects to Module 4 because instruction can be changed sometimes, and using those instructional resources from lesson plans or when designing your new lesson plans is really important. So using textbooks, websites, and all those resources is really important. Moving on to Module 6, it is important to create positive expectations. And a positive expectation is just an optimistic belief that they'll succeed. And when you have this belief, you can dedicate more energy into the success of your students. And Module 6 connects to Module 5 because expectations leads to having higher standards. And having those higher standards with supportive feedback will create greater success, as mentioned in the formative assessment component of Module 5.